Hello, welcome to episode 395, not 394, 395 of the Sunday New York Times Read Along. We have a great show planned for today. Sri and I will be talking about several issues, and let's just fix that cover image right now. Sorry about that, folks. Sometimes you gotta roll with the punches. We have episode 395. We have a great show. We have several issues we're going to be talking about. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and our Digimentors website. Please like, comment, share, retweet, do all the things that you do to make sure folks find the show. This week, we're going to be covering, as I mentioned, several issues. The voting rights decision by the Supreme Court, which was monumental, certainly. We're also going to be talking about World Press Freedom Day, which is today, May 3rd. And we'll be covering all of the news as well. A quick note for folks, and we'll remind folks later, Claudia Dreifus was going to join us to talk about Andrew Hacker, her beloved husband who passed away recently, but she will be joining us next week instead. So we're looking forward to that conversation. We'll either have her join us or we'll play a video of our interview with her. Again, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and our Digimentors website. We do the show every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Muck Rack and the Graphic History Company. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us bring this show to our viewers every week. We also want to remind people that the show is produced by Digimentors, the social and digital consulting firm that Sri started with his friend Andrew Lee. I'm proud to be a vice president of events and communications for Digimentors. Let's go ahead and welcome some of the folks who are watching. We have Jonathan, or John rather, watching from the East Village. We have Sujana Chandrasekhar saying good morning. Sujana, we got to talk. Patricia Freudenberg says grace and greetings from New York. And well, Sri, I think you want to do a special hello to this person, right? Isn't you have a connection with her, I believe?
Our wonderful auntie, Sudha auntie is here with us, and thank you so much, auntie, for being here, watching along with everybody else. But Neil, I'll let you say hello to her as well.
I was going to say, Sri, you could do better than that, right? And it's you have a little bit more. Mom, always good to have you on the show, and thank you for watching. Really appreciate it, and of course, I'll call you in 1 week since it's going to be Mother's Day. So just wait a week, and I'll do a proper. No, I will call you before then. Sri, Deborah is watching from a stormy and rainy Fort Lauderdale, complete with lightning and thunder. Good morning and excited for the show. Deborah, thank you so much. And let us know what it is. What are you particularly excited about for this week's show? Doug Levy is joining us from the San Francisco area. It is 5:30 a.m. Pacific time, but he's a long time, not old. I made that mistake once. Not old radio hand, long time radio hand, and he always gets up this early. Sri is showing us a view of the
East River, the UN headquarters. River. Yeah, it's UN headquarters and the East River. And you also saw a sign for Hands Off New York. My daughter Durga works for the largest anti-ICE organization in America, and she's leading the Bronx efforts. And so we want to make sure there's no ICE around us. We are so grateful to all of you for watching. We do this every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, but it's available right after on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as digimentors.group. Look for the New York Times Read Along button. and you will be able to see this video. We're also live on Scroll, one of India's most important independent news sites. They have more than 500,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel. And we are so happy to have, I see Ken with us. He's watching from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, home of Cheerios and other such cereals. I didn't know. Therese is watching from Pasadena. She used to be in Yonkers, has moved, and it's time for coffee. And I am old now too, says Doug. Doug, I'll be seeing you in Minneapolis for the Association of Healthcare Journalists, all the great work he does there. Patricia says, beautiful day here in New York. It's a little chilly, but it is beautiful. And Stefan is watching and says, beautiful Sunday here in Ramsey, New Jersey. Snehalata is watching. Good evening and namaste from Mumbai, India. And de-icing is critically important everywhere on airplane wings and in America. Mary C. Curtis is with us. Good morning from Charlotte, North Carolina, gutted by the Supreme Court's voting ruling, and Kagan's dissent was so true. But as Jim Clyburn recently told me, when protesters marched along the bridge, most Black Alabamians could not vote. So don't give up. And this is so important. Mary and all of us have been together through a lot in these last several years. She's been a frequent guest on the show. And in the 2024 election, we went live for about 10 hours of programming in the run up to the election in the last days and the day after to tell people what was coming down the pike. Everything that Trump had threatened to do, he did. And here we are living in that world. Patricia says, congratulations for my daughter and the great achievement and dedication to service above self. Thank you. Debbie's watching from DC. Thank you. And oh, I guess Neil, you're getting congratulated because Siddhartha Patil crowned as Miss Universe 2026. So that's and Munir is watching from Trivandrum, India. That's where my dad lives, 82 years old. Thank you, Munir, for joining us. Neil, you're going to react to that very important piece of news.
I didn't even know that I was in the running, so I was very pleased to get to win with everyone. I guess all Indians.
Yes.
I have to admit I didn't even know about the pageant, which is says something. It's interesting. I was actually watching an episode of Law and Order just last night, and they had one in the plot line. There was a beauty pageant, and one of the characters said, I thought we didn't do those things anymore. And so that's kind of where things stand. I actually still remember being at my uncle's house when I was 8 years old, watching a Miss America beauty pageant. And the one thing I remember about it is that Miss New York was like almost 8 inches taller than every other contestant. So when they panned the camera went like this, Miss New York, and then everyone else. But that's about it. That's all I got.
I think that many immigrant homes, it was not unusual to have this on as something that people watched as part of Americana, trying to understand what was going on. It was not that unusual. Naomi is watching. The sun rose again in Rhode Island. Wonderful to see you all. I think that's a good way to look at life with everything going on. Folks, so if you're new to us, thank you for being here. We are delighted to have you. Tell us where you're watching from. Please share this with your friends. They can watch us live or later, and they will get a chance to see your comments and your questions here as well. We're going to tell you a little bit about some of the other things we're doing, but I just wanted to show you the front pages of yesterday's paper and today's paper. But also, Neil, this is hilarious. I saw this headline, over time, a soprano grows into the role. It's the art section. So I thought one of the young kids in the Sopranos TV show had grown into into being a great actor of some kind, but it turns out it's an actual soprano in the opera sense of the word. So headlines can be confusing. Yesterday's lead story: key Republicans losing patience for war in Iran. I think that's a message that more people need to hear. And a voting rights legacy, and we will be talking more about that. Jews in politics confront wave of antagonism. Anti-Semitism rises as Israel's support falls, and signups plunge for Obamacare as prices soar. Millions drop plans. Many can't afford cost after Congress lets enhanced aid end. Neil, one of the things that I've always said is the people who benefited, millions benefited from Obamacare. Did they all vote for Obama successors? No. And
Yeah.
now, when they're losing it, I hope some people wake up and understand that there is no plan that Trump has for them. And in Iran, cafes providing coffee and an escape one can afford. And barred president steps down after revelations about Epstein ties. Fixture of the college for half a century. I missed
50
that piece of
years.
news. 50 years.
He became president in 1975 at
Mm,
the 28. And
mm,
when I saw the headline, I was doing the math and trying to figure, like, is this actually possible? So
mhm.
it was really interesting. I see we have a newsletter on the screen.
Yes, I was just able to send out the newsletter before we started. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Please open, read, and share. If you're new to us, thank you for being here. Srinet.substack.com, and we wrote about freedom and the voting and freedom of speech both in peril. And this cartoon I really liked from Christopher Wayant in the Boston Globe, where he says East Wing, Rose Garden, Lincoln Reflecting Pool, all latest destruction of America's historic landmarks, and the Voting Rights Act. It's you got to laugh at some of this because others will be crying all day, and we want to make sure that people are aware of this. And there's so much, Neil, we've got to talk about. So I'm going to throw it back to you, but it's definitely would love to have everyone support the New York, the Substack by going there. But there's also a LinkedIn version if you prefer LinkedIn and you like to subscribe there.
Absolutely. So as we mentioned in terms of some of the topics we'll be discussing today, first, of course, the Voting Rights Act. It was the display pictures on the Saturday issue. If you saw all those charts that Sri had, that looked at Black representation in Congress over the years. It's also the lead story in today's paper on Sunday. So we'll certainly be talking more about that. And I think it's not an understatement to say that the Supreme Court dealt a devastating blow to American democracy. I will mention that we have statements from the John and Lillian Miles Lewis Foundation and from Southern Poverty Law Center on our website. If folks are interested, if you want to check them out, you can go to digimentors.group and find the New York Times read-along and click through for those links. We also will be talking about World Press Freedom Day, which is today, May 3rd. This is an international, I'd like to say celebration, but I think it's a little tempered because of the threats that journalists face around the world. But today is World Press Freedom Day. We do have links to that on our website as well, including an interesting article about how American journalists are under threat and under attack. It's not just, a lot of these issues, Sri, over the last few years is something that you would think happened in other parts of the world. But these things are happening right here at home. And we'll also talk about a great webinar that's being held on Wednesday, May 6th, Freedom of the Press, Views from the Front Line. It's a class act forum, which is really like an alumni group out of Harvard University. Our good friend Therese Steiner, I believe, leads that committee or has led that committee for years. And they have some great panelists. So I certainly encourage you to check that out. We'll put the link for the webinar in the in Facebook for folks in just a little bit. But Freedom of the Press, Views from the Front Line, May 6th, Wednesday, May 6th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we will be sharing some thoughts from Claudia Dreifus next week. Unfortunately not this week, but next week. That's Claudia Dreifus on the left, as you can see, and Andrew Hacker. This is a screenshot from almost exactly 6 years ago, Sri, in April. Andrew was on a guest on our show, and Claudia joined him on screen.
The great political scientist who's passed away, who predicted on our show 6 years ago that Trump would lose the 2020 election. And I came back and said, I doubt it, that I'm skeptical, I said. And then he turned out to be right, as he was on so many elections. And we'll celebrate him even more next week. And I know Claudia is watching. Claudia, thank you for trying to join us. Tech is always a mess, but we get one more chance to talk to you and celebrate Andrew's great life and your great relationship. You have a photo you're going to show us of both of you meeting for the first time in 1963. How cool is that? So we're going to show that also to everybody next week. Thank you, Claudia, for watching with us.
And as you can see, unfortunately, she had a computer issue this morning and could not join us. We also want to let folks know about a masterclass in writing. Sri, can you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. This is our friend Jay Dixit and Narratively have put together a Socratic AI class for writers, people who have wanted to finish something but haven't finished it, a book proposal, business plan, essay, memoir, screenplay. In 6 weeks, starting May 18th, you join him and you use AI as a sounding board and teaching partner, thinking partner to talk out ideas. It is not meant to substitute or ghostwrite your stuff. And the idea is in the 6 weeks, you'll finish a complete draft of anything you want. And they're offering us a great deal, 15% off for the class for the entire Digimentors community. That is all of you, plus 15% off all Narratively Academy writing and storytelling courses for the next 3 months. So use Digimentors at the checkout and just go to Narratively Academy and you can find this. If you go to narratively.com, you'll find us there. You'll find Jay there, and then you can join. So please do check that out.
I would actually, Sri, we have a URL, tinyurl.com, Socratic AI Masterclass.
They can use that as well.
Facebook as well. That would be great to use.
Thank you, everyone. If you can use that, please do. And Jay, good luck with this great project finishing course, the 24-hour writing coach to help you finish what you start. Very different. By the way, he was the first writing community ambassador for OpenAI. They hired him and he got to work for a year helping people use ChatGPT and other tools. All right. Diane is watching from South Jersey. And Shashi is watching from Potomac in Maryland in the Washington, D.C. area. And from Mumbai trains to California lanes, Siddhartha's journey, pure pride gains. There's more talking about the person who won the Miss Universe contest. Chris Gorman's watching. Sri and Neil watching from New York, New York. He is the chief operating officer and deputy director of the Museum of the City of New York. And so we're very excited to have him here. I went there to see an amazing exhibition, Neil, of somebody who's basically recreated New York City in little styrofoam and other construction material. The entire city of New York has been put together by this. So get to the Museum of the City of New York so you can see it. A couple more hellos, and then we got to get to the paper. Susan Stein's watching from Reading, Connecticut.
And I was going to say one last announcement, Sri. Of course, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, right?
Thank you, Neil, for what you do with mental health awareness, not just month, but year and years of what you've been doing. Shining Light on Shadows, your special show where you have candid conversations about mental health. And it's on the second and fourth Thursdays. And everything you do on there is important. We don't have enough men talking about mental health. We don't have enough South Asians talking about mental health. We don't have enough South Asian men talking about mental health. And the way you do it, where it's not about who you are, but how we can all improve our mental health. So everyone, please watch Don and Neil and their show on Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find them all on Neil's website as well.
And Sri, thank you for all of your support and encouragement in doing the show. It certainly means a lot. These aren't easy issues to talk about. And I know that Don and I have both grown over the last, this is our third year doing the show. So
amazing.
It's getting up there. We're going to be, our next episode is episode 49 and episode 50 will be at the end of May.
Amazing. Ellen's watching from the Upper East Side. Thank you. Ron is watching. He's been writing for his book for years, Ron Thomas has. So, Ron, you need this course. I want to point out another good friend watching is E.R. Ship, who was the first ombudsperson for the New York Times. I think it was called Reader Representative. I forget what exactly the title was, but Ship, as we call her, my colleague at Columbia, Pulitzer Prize winner, is watching on Amtrak. Love to have her here with us. And Ron Thomas and I are getting lunch on Monday, so that's going to be fun. He's usually based in Dubai, but here he is. And Therese is, in fact, a founding board member of Class Act, and terrific panel next Wednesday. And it's also AAPI and Jewish Heritage Month. So Asian American Pacific Islander, that's what that stands for, and Jewish Heritage Month. So we saw that disturbing story about Jews in politics confront wave of anti-Semitism and antagonism. Ellen says, yes, the New York is amazing and must see. And while you're there, the Museo del Barrio is right next door. This is all part of what's called Museum Mile in New York. And we have so much to talk about, Neil. Let's get to the paper and just thank everyone who is watching. It means so much to us that you're here with us. Please tag a friend and they can watch us live or later. We're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary in a big way later this year, but we've already crossed 10 years. And Neil, what is your estimate when we'll hit the 400 number, given vacations and things like that?
It's going to be in June. It looks like it's the last time I checked it. It's either going to be, I think, at the end of June or after 4th of July, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do something special for that, certainly.
Yes, we will. I'm just trying to see if I can get the camera to turn around. Let's see if I can spin it. Let's see how that works. It does. Let's see. Sometimes it takes, but sometimes it doesn't. There it is.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. Fun with technology. See, Claudia, everybody can have trouble with tech. Let's see what the lead stories are in the paper today. Voting ruling could incite endless redistricting wars.
Yeah.
Fair representation and power of voters are probable casualties in hail of maps. And the last days of Butter Ridge. The Watsons milked cows for generations. Now another dairy farm is gone. Brad Watson watching cows leave the milking parlor at his dairy farm, Butter Ridge, after an auction in April. Spirit pioneer of cheap fares seizes flying. And in primaries, Trump targets the disloyal. I mean, he's been doing that always. That is his mode of operations. Yeah, Neil, go ahead.
With all the travel that you do, did you ever fly Spirit Air?
No, our rule at our home is no Spirit Airlines, no Frontier Airlines. Whatever money you save, even if it's a lot or a little, it's not worth the lack of proper service. Tara is not happy about something. Tara, what's going on? Yeah, I think she already got some food, but maybe she wants more. But we had a great walk this morning. Let's see here. AI prompting writing revival in classrooms. So the key is you can have the writing revival, but what kind of writing it is. No, Neil, I was calling her Neil. Neil, sorry.
You need me to stop barking, Sri? I'll stop barking.
Yeah, exactly. Breakthrough in Kentucky. No, Tara, stop. And Neil, if it gets really bad, I'll go off camera. You'll talk, and then we'll come back. Breakthrough in the Kentucky Derby. Golden Tempo is the first winner trained by a woman. How exciting is that? Coverage at the NewYorkTimes.com. And Swalwell built a career on social media. His accusers used it to warn others. Network grew around multiple allegations. Neil, this has happened to several high-profile men who have been credibly accused of sexual assault and other kinds of problems, where people were talking about this online publicly or semi-publicly for years. And then it came out, including, you might remember, a very famous chef who ran what was at one point the world's #1 restaurant was discussed and then was put out to pasture after what happened to him after they found out all the things.
Mario Batali?
No, this was the more recent person who ran Noma, which was the #1.
Oh, Noma, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. And so that's the front page here. Any reflections on the front page, Neil?
No, I just want to acknowledge, I think you may have skipped over that picture of Taylor Swift on the bottom
Yeah, because we're
Bottom
going right to
corner,
her here. Here she is.
which is
This is
it's
this is.
interesting.
She's on the
Of all
cover
those
of the 30 greatest living American songwriters featuring Taylor Swift. If you're curious, here is.
three, I
Yes.
got Lucinda Williams.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
So they must have again
I'm
four
curious.
covers. I think they must have done the four covers thing, which they sometimes do. So, but normally they do tell us which versions they have, right? The covers. They normally have the four covers as a preview. By the way, this is Dwayne Wade with the Sapphire card. I hope the actual card isn't this big. Neil, look at the size of this credit card. It's giant. Dwayne Wade was a famous NBA basketball player, and there's a Jay-Z line where he says, if someone's picking LeBron, he's picking Dwayne Wade. So that's how he became famous. I think it was if
Wow.
Jesus is picking LeBron, I'm picking Dwayne Wade. So who else is on this list of the 30 top songwriters? You can see the list here. We're not going to read all of them, but some names may catch your eye. Dolly Parton, Kendrick Lamar, Mariah Carey, Bob wrote all her lyrics. I didn't know that. Babyface Jay-Z is here. I just mentioned Jay-Z's
Yeah.
name. Yeah. Bruce Springsteen, Bad Bunny, Diane Warren, Lionel Richie, so Smokey Robinson. Great list. My own take on it, just instantly looking at this, is that some of these people have retired. So the category shouldn't be living, it should be active, because if they're not performing anymore, the fact that they're living, if they're in their 80s, 90s, is it
But
the right list? I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to push back on that, Sri, because
Okay.
the category is songwriters, not
Mhm.
performers.
I
So a
understand.
lot of times they will have written songs that are being performed by others who may be current. So it'd be maybe a question about whether they're still writing songs if it's a living songwriters or active songwriters. That might be a slight difference.
Right. That's what I was thinking. If in to me, for example, Nile Rodgers is young, so I'll just use him as an example. If he passes tomorrow, people will still be using his songs and everything else.
Sure,
So
sure.
that's why I was thinking that way. But this is all meant to start and foster debate and people disagreeing, isn't it? Isn't that what they're
I do I do want to point out one thing, those three, and this is the print versus online conversation. I saw some of these featured articles online, particularly on my phone, and I didn't realize that they were part of that they were a New York Times Magazine special
right?
issue. It's much more impressive to see it in the magazine and
Mhm.
have it almost like a keepsake than
Mhm.
the individual articles that may pop up in your feed or on the app. I think the layout is really well done. It's really interesting with the colors and the way the names are curved around the pictures.
I think that's very well put. They also have this nice feature called 5 essential songs for each of them. So Jolene, I will always love you. Coat of many colors, 9 to 5, and my Tennessee Mountain Home. Obviously for Dolly Parton. For Carole King, One Fine Day, Up on the Roof, Way Over Yonder, So Far Away, Natural Woman. These are all great songs. We'll do one more. Or Mariah Carey is We Belong Together. Beautiful, featuring Miguel. Fantasy, Touch My Body, and Whenever You Call. That's Mariah Carey. So great list. And in this list, there's a reference to Kendrick Lamar. They say he is a Dylan-esque voice of hip hop. So that's a nice tribute to both of them at the same time.
Before we leave that, Sri, I think it's also worth noting that at least online, I don't know if it's in the magazine, the New York Times included a list of 11 great songwriters who didn't make the list. And I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite, Billy Joel.
How did Billy Joel not
who,
make this list? Good point. Why is he not on the list? What's the
How did he not make the list?
how
Exactly.
crazy? How crazy?
Um,
Because
but
unlike people I put in the same bracket of success like Elton John and others, he's a piano player who also writes his own songs, and that's what's so special as a songwriter, that he does that. And so that Billy Joel's not there is kind of upsetting.
So it's like they have an editor's note to explain that in the Amplifier newsletter.
All right.
So I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah. Folks, we have so many people watching. We are so grateful to everybody who is watching with us. Mary gives greetings to Ship, my former New York Times colleague, now based in my hometown of Baltimore. And Deborah is tagging her friends. Everybody do this. I think that's fun. And Therese says, such an important topic, Neil. Thanks for expanding understanding of mental health. And Pradnya says, good morning from Silver Spring. Pradnya, we are happy to see you. Dr. Tachi from Fort Lauderdale. And Patricia says he is just saying hi about Tara. Tara's 10 years old, and but has the energy of a puppy sometimes. Manuel is watching from Spain. Thank you for the applause. And Martin Englisher is asking about Marvin Hamlish. So people want others in here as well. Ellen says, I have Taylor Swift on the cover. And Naomi says, Billy Joel fans, check out the 2-part doc on him.
Yes.
That's on, I think it's on HBO.
HBO.
It's
outstanding. Incredible.
Yeah, it's really, really
incredible.
Good. Yeah.
I will also mention, Sri, several comments coming from Instagram. And in particular, we're talking about the list. Mark Lee asks whether Buddy Guy made the list. And certainly we didn't see his name there. I don't think we saw it when we went through it quickly. Stevie Wonder
Yes.
and Valerie Simpson were other names that he mentioned.
Yeah.
Walter Grayson is also watching.
Hey, Walter, thank you for watching, and thank you for your support of this show and your support of creators and creativity and history everywhere you go. So we're very grateful to you. All right, let's check out the Sunday Opinion cover. Can we escape a permanent underclass? We need to think seriously about how we support workers through AI disruption. Jasmine Sun's piece, so important. Everyone, I've been talking again and again about why we're not discussing, how come we're not discussing what it's going to do to the economy and what's going to do to jobs. It's a huge problem. And tie that, Neil, with this special issue or special topic, special section, longevity. As we imagine, there are going to be more people losing their jobs at younger ages and living longer. So what happens to these people? How do they live? How far will your money take you? Longer lives are raising fresh questions about quality and affordability. So this is something that I think we should all be reading, no matter what your age. Did you watch the first Devil Meets Prada?
I did, and we actually are talking about seeing the sequel as a family. Emily wants to see it as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
As you know, at the Met, I got to work with Anna Wintour on the Met Gala and other things, and I didn't know she had that much of a sense of humor that she would embrace the portrayal by Meryl Streep of her as the devil in The Devil Wears Prada. But this looks that, like, I think this time they've really embraced it, the company. But also think about the changes since the first one came out in 2007, and now magazines had the power, and now there's so little power, even in a big, powerful magazine like Vanity Fair. And I recommend to everyone the Press Box podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts, where they talk about the distance magazine world has come in these 20 years or 2 decades. So definitely check that out. The book review cover is Into the West. In this vast enterprise, Craig Furman refreshes a familiar story with the rich and human chorus of voices. This is Andrea Wolf's review. And this is really interesting to me because I'm a big fan of this guy, and most people have never heard of him, but he gets interviews with Elon, Mark Zuckerberg, Jensen Huang, people like that. And who is he? His name is Dwarkesh Patel, the podcast where you can eavesdrop on the AI elite. And he is someone no one knew, but his success has been from going long form and reading everything about the speaker before he interviews them. So he does so much research that these very highfalutin people think he's a peer, that they're talking to a peer, so they love coming on a show. So that's a fascinating way to kind of look at the world and how they do this. So this is Dwarkesh Patel is his name, and he goes by just Dwarkesh, Dwarkesh in his office and studio in San Francisco. He averages 2 million listens per episode.
Wow.
Japanese bathhouses feel the shock of war in Iran. High fuel costs imperil a social lifeline for the country's elderly. So I guess fuel, because they need to fuel heat the water, I guess. And there's more here about work and retiring and corner office. I like this work friend column. She may want her teeth to be clean, but brushing in the office can turn things messy. Have you ever seen someone shave or brush their teeth in the men's room, Neil?
No, I have not actually.
How would you feel about that?
I'd have to think about that because potentially brushing after lunch may not be a bad idea. I don't know about shaving though.
I can confess that I have had to shave at least once. Kara Swisher has a cameo in the Devil Wears Prada. She's very fashionable with her aviators. And the last corner office item here is Chevy Humphrey of Chicago's Science Museum always wanted to be in charge. So if you wanted to be in charge, that's a pretty good job to have. One of the great science museums of the world. Let's see the Sunday Style section, which Neil reads cover to cover on his own
every time.
Yeah. Seeing the body through clothing, a new show at the Met juxtaposes garments and art to capture what our forms share and don't. So that, I guess, the Met Gala is on Monday. That's what this is about. Our daughter has been invited to the anti-Met Gala. I guess I think people are really upset, Neil, because Amazon is sponsoring and Jeff Bezos, maybe personally, Jeff Bezos is sponsoring the
Really?
gala this year. Just quickly looking in here, if there's something to catch our eye. European soccer fans ask, why not walk to MetLife to avoid? NJ Transit is charging $150 to go from New York to MetLife, but I know you had a thought about the Met Gala.
No, I was gonna on the Met Gala, but staying with the the walking to the games. I think the subhead, if you read, I'm curious because I think I saw it online, said they want people to avoid walking on highways and in the swamps around around MetLife Stadium. I can't.
So you charge more
really
money?
Imagine
you charge more money to make people safer? I don't understand.
I mean, but I can't imagine the idea of people walking to MetLife, given where it is in New Jersey. It's kind of a treacherous walk.
Why charge $150? That's crazy. I don't know, Neil, a single person who personally know is able to go and afford it unless they're super, super rich. Because even a so-so ticket to a so-so game is like $4,000. So that's
but if you're buying a ticket for $4,000, Sri, what's another $150 for a bus ride?
Exactly. I mean, Exactly. And here's a whole coverage of the Met Gala already. Costume Institute aims to rely less on one big night. Stars are aligned for the most meta Met Gala yet. And I presume that somehow Meryl Streep will be there. There are 2 pages on the Met Gala. I've never seen that before like this, plus the cover. All right, Neil, since we don't have a guest and we haven't had a chance to do this in a while, I'm going to put you on the spot and read one of the social cues. There's the Philip Galland's column that we love, and we usually ask our guests. Okay, here we go. Remember, I'm reading this cold, and Neil is going to give us his cold answer to this. Last week, we saw paramedics, and then the police, and then a hearse at our neighbor's townhouse. I texted the couple to ask if they were okay. Okay, that's weird. If there's a hearse, you ask if they're okay, and to offer our help. We were casually friendly with them. We had dinner at each other's homes. Wow. I've seen lots of family at the house this week, but we still don't know who died, husband or wife. There has been no obituary online. Should I back off and let it go that they don't want our family and let it go because they don't want our family informed? Okay, Neil, what do you think of that? No wrong answer.
So they reached out initially after seeing the hearse, etc. I would say that I think that one inquiry would be okay if you have a relationship with them, if you know them really well. But then if they haven't responded, and something's clearly going on, you have to just drop it. You can't be too pushy. You don't know what people are dealing with, how sensitive it is, what they're willing to share or not share, particularly if you can't find something online or in a neighborhood Facebook group or something. Just drop it.
All right. So Neil, I'm going to disagree because
Okay.
I'm a nosy neighbor and a friendly neighbor. If they've been to my house, I would go over and knock on the door and say, hey, I just see something, say something. I wouldn't write to the couple and say, "Has one of you died?" Basically, what you're doing there. The person whose family member has passed is so busy, so they didn't answer. The kids don't know you, right? The grandkids may not know
Yeah.
you. So I see no problem in just politely catching somebody on their way in. There's so many people in and out. You could certainly ask somebody, what do you is it who's passed, and then follow up. Because if this was, I lost my mom. So if a neighbor had been friends with her, I would hate to have not had a chance for her to come pay her last respects just because I didn't know her, if that makes sense.
But I wonder if we're not that far off, Sri, in our response. You talked about the idea, instead of writing to them, that you would go knock on the door. So I think the difference is that, so if you go knock on the door and no one answers, do you go again? Do you go repeatedly until you get an answer?
And maybe I don't knock on the door at all. I just wait if somebody's coming in or out,
or wait
with somebody who looks like the kids or nurse somebody, and just say, "Hey, what's happening?" I think that's how I would do it. No wrong answer.
I think the issue for me was the follow-up, right? So if you inquire with someone walking by or knocking on the door or sending a message, but you're rebuffed, if someone's walking by and someone just says, I can't talk right now, or I can't really get into it, I think that's the issue, is being pushy.
Right.
However you approach them is different.
Yeah. And by the way, just because one person says, unless I know it's the son saying don't, or the daughter saying I can't talk, it may be somebody who doesn't know as much and may not know the wishes of that person. It's the fact that we ate in each other's homes. And that's where I'd make. So we should actually, since that's such an interesting question, let's see what people say. Can you just pull up some of the comments while I get Philip's answer? And that reminds me, we should get Philip on the show one of these days. We've been saying that for 10 years. 10 years I've been saying we're going to get him. So, all right. But, go ahead. Naomi
says, agreed, it's rude to intrude. And Ron says the exact opposite. Go over and ask. Geez. Deborah says, take a cake. So I guess there's definitely some differences of opinion out there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
All right. Let's look at this answer. I may be misreading your letter, but you seem to be more curious about what happened next door than broken up about the death of your neighbor. Your last line suggests you're taking the situation personally, but the death has nothing to do with you. The grieving survivor has more on his or her mind right now than informing everyone who ever dined with them of the loss. Back off and wait until you see an obituary or the surviving spouse to express your condolences. So Philip is more on your side than mine, but that's okay. It's not a contest. Maybe it's a contest. We don't know.
Diana said she would knock on the door.
Yes, thank you.
Doug Levy says that he was mostly with me on this. My mom says she would. Oh, sorry. Munir says he would knock. My mom said that she would intrude. Deborah says maybe they were in witness protection. So, there are all sorts of possibilities out there.
Yeah, and we're not making fun of the death of somebody, but it is important to understand this. There's no right answers to a lot of ethical and etiquette questions, for sure.
We should do this more often, Sri. It's John's instinct is the journalistic instinct is to find out what happened.
I still can't get over the texting the spouse, "Are you alive? Who died?"
But I will say, but on John's point, I agree with the journalistic instinct to find out what happened. But let's make sure that you mute that journalistic instinct to then report the news, because it's not your news to report. Correct. Right? Don't post it. That's the one thing I think with social media and everything. It's always hard when you share news about someone's passing and someone finds out that way. Let the family, post the news and share it publicly in their own way.
I think that's a good way to think about this. Um, we we have always seen that this can be a problem. Who reports the news is important, and that confuses people, right? So how that works is also an issue, folks. If you're just watching right now, I'm Sri Srinivasan. That's Neil Parekh, and we do this every Sunday for some reason. Neil, we've been doing it for 10 years. It's the New York Times read along, and we use this as an opportunity not to talk just about the New York Times, but about news, about the values of accurate information, about fighting disinformation. And we would love to get your help to spread the word. We'd also love you to sign up. Neil has not a newsletter, but kind of an update where he will send you the day before information about what's coming up. And he will also, if we have a special PDF from the New York Times that they send us, he will give you an alert and even send you that in advance. So you want to sign up for it. It's once a week at most, and it's super helpful, super useful. Please write to him at neil@digimentors.group, and you can get that sent to you. And you can also use it to find out about, you can write to him to find out about how to be a sponsor of this show. We'd love to have you join Muckrack and the Graphic History Company to be here as well. So Snehalata says, I would probably go and knock on the door. Thank you, Snehalata.
Yep. I was just going to point out, Sri, for the website for the show, these are the links that we curated for you today. The Voting Rights Act, a gift link to the New York Times article, statements from the John and Lillian Miles Lewis Foundation and Southern Poverty Law Center, 3 pieces around World Press Freedom Day, the webinar that we talked about earlier, Freedom of the Press, Views from the Front Line, American journalists are under attack, and then a UN link on World Press Freedom Day. We also have the gift link to Professor Andrew Hacker's obituary, all on our site.
Yep. So please go to digimentors.group and click on the New York Times Read Along tab, and you will see that. Since we just mentioned breaking the news, I had an unusual situation, Neil, in 2009, where in a subway cart full of people going uptown in New York, I broke the news to them of the passing of Michael Jackson. And it was, you can see here, I'm in the lead of the story months after this happened. Like a research scientist who gets a chance to play with a chemistry set, Sri returned to his roots of his chosen field last month, riding home on the #1 train. It was 5:54 p.m. and he was being overwhelmed with messages from people he follows on Twitter saying Michael Jackson was dead. He gasped at the news and therefore announced it to his fellow riders, and they all gasped too. This is Sri reporting live from beneath the busy streets. Neil, I had to get that right. If that was wrong in a subway cart full of people who know and love Michael at that point, or had hated him for any of the other problems, at that moment, you cannot get it wrong. And you know who I trusted to be right? And that's why I went with it? TMZ. For TMZ, getting the Michael Jackson death is as important as the Washington Post getting the death of or resignation of a president, right? So that was my attitude.
That it's interesting you should say that, Sri, because I remember the story, but I didn't remember your source. And I was going to say that when you see news like that, be careful if you see it on TMZ first, and wait for a more, I was going to say, reputable organization to, New York Times and others. I wait until I see it on the Times website or Washington Post before I know that it's true. So that's interesting that you went with TMZ.
Well, it make it sound very like I thought it through. I knew he was sick. He had been ill, so I knew that. And then I went in the subway and TMZ tweet came through, Michael Jackson dead. So I said that out, like kind of gasped, and that's what people picked up. And then I said TMZ is reporting it, they're not going to be wrong on this. This I knew they would not be wrong on. They're wrong on a lot of other things, but this story, and by the way, you saw the thing, it was at 4:54. Even Brian Williams and the 6:30 News didn't have it. They didn't lead with it till a couple of minutes later. So that's how long it took for all the traditional journalists to get it right. And I am for getting it right. But in this case, because I also had the history of knowing that he was ill, that I could go with it, because the business would have shut down if he hadn't died at that moment.
Sure.
All right,
Good point.
we're about 10 minutes left, and we have a couple of things we should do, Neil. We should look through parts of the paper. What would you like to see? Maybe we can do a deep dive either into the front section or something else. You get to pick.
I would go. Let's take a look at the opinion section, because I think that there's a lot that's going on. While you're doing that, I just want to share on the neighbor question. Mark Lee on Instagram said he would go over and ask, I remember when I was living with a woman and our neighbor died when tased by police. We saw the police and body and were curious, so we asked. Also want to give a quick shout out on Instagram. We have someone with the handle, I'm just reading it, DURGANY, Durga, New York City in the house. Durga, thank you so much for watching. Sweet's daughter.
Thank you, Durga, for watching. My mom used to watch every episode when she was with us, so I'm happy Durga gets a chance. She's too busy to watch here. Maureen Dowd's column, His Majesty and Our Travesty, a real king delivers a royal lesson on democracy. And one of the lines, Neil, that I liked from his speech was about how Trump keeps saying if he hadn't saved Europe, if America hadn't saved Europe, everybody would be speaking German. And the king says, Mr. Trump, if things hadn't gone a certain way, everybody in America would be speaking French. So, especially historically. So, Europeans certainly helped get rid of the British here. The loneliness of Donald Trump. A ballroom is not the answer to political violence. I don't know if that's why he's doing the ballroom, but I like this headline, though. What do you think?
The ballroom, that the capacity, from what I understand, would be 1,000 people, and the White House Correspondents' Dinner usually gets 2,500 people. So not sure how the math adds up in terms of needing the ballroom because of what happened. And I'm putting what happened in quotes because I think it's still uncertain exactly what happened outside that ballroom.
Neil, putting things in quotes like that is kind of edging slowly towards conspiracy land.
Oh yes, I'm willing to do that when it comes to President Trump. When you're talking about the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, we're talking about the people coming in to Mar-a-Lago. And this the person rushing, I just don't see it as an assassination attempt. It's certainly someone with a gun outside the event.
Neil, he said he wants to kill everybody except Kash Patel. That's a whole other story why Kash Patel was going to be spared, but he said he's going to kill the president. So you can't say he wasn't going to do that. He was trying to do that.
Yeah, we can see. I do want to make so you're looking at the rest of the opinion section. Is there anything in the opinion section about the Voting Rights Act? Because I want to make sure that we spend a minute on that at least.
Sure.
Amy,
go ahead. I'll try to find it, Neil. Go ahead. I'll try to find it.
Yeah, look for Amy. Amy says that she's watching from Port Angeles. It was Ellen. Let's see, who was it that Ellen said that I wish you had spoken more about the Voting Rights Act. Very frightening. Ellen, we did talk about that a little bit at the beginning of the show, certainly.
And my newsletter is all about it. So please, srinet.substack.com, srinet.substack.com. Thank you.
Yes, no, absolutely. But we want to make sure, in case folks missed it, in case folks joined late, we have statements from the John and Lillian Miles Lewis Foundation and Southern Poverty Law Center on our website. And yes, the Supreme Court dealt a devastating blow. For folks who may not be familiar with what this is, it's the idea that when state legislatures usually draw congressional maps, the whole idea was that they were drawing maps with the idea of making sure that there was representation for minorities. You can draw maps to dilute the power of minorities in terms of voting power, or you can have it be more representative. And in Louisiana, for example, I think the third of the population was Black, but without the with the way the maps were drawn earlier, there was no black representation. They had one district. They were able to increase it to 2 districts. And the concern, Sri, is that without these, with these provisions, you can get fully gerrymandered districts across the country and in the South in particular, where you can really reduce. I mean, in the name of doing it on political grounds, reduce representation of Black Americans, which is just it could wipe out 2 generations of progress when it comes to political representation.
Yeah, it's very disturbing and part of a pattern of they want everything to be colorblind, but only when it helps them and their voters that they want to believe, or who are their voters. But I am confident that the way things are looking now, even with all of this shenanigans that they're doing, that the Democrats have a very good chance at taking over one of the houses in Congress, but we don't know, and we won't know till much closer. Let's see some of the comments coming in. We're going to start wrapping up here. We'll have a couple of minutes left. We want to remind everybody, Neil, if you can, about the very important seminar that's coming up, the webinar that Class Act is doing.
Yes, it's World Press Freedom Day today, and Class Act is doing a webinar on Wednesday, May 6th at 7 p.m. Freedom of the Press, Views from the Front Line. Certainly encourage you to join. We have the moderator is a principal with the Gallatin Advisory LLC. We have Bruce Brown, who's president of the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. Francia Garcia Hernandez, neighborhood and lead immigration reporter, and David McCraw, deputy general counsel of the New York Times. So they definitely have a great lineup for this webinar.
I think we should take down his name. We should take down his name and ask him to join us in a future episode, the Times person. And Dick Toffel, who is a great Substack, by the way, is a dear friend, and I'm glad he's there. Let's quickly look through the comments and see what's happening. And Jonathan says the ballroom would be for government use. The correspondent dinner is not a government event. Well, he thinks it might be. Amy has received my newsletter. Thank you. And we'll read it on Substack. The Supreme Court dealt a devastating blow to all of us. And the New York Times fans, as Therese is telling people why they should watch, which is great. Mary says South Carolina GOP wants to eliminate its lone Democratic district, represented by Clyburn. Imagine all the good trouble James Clyburn, very senior member, has created in America in so many ways, and is a state that is more than a quarter Black. Same in other southern states. So imagine a state that's quarter Black with no representation. That is likely what that'll happen. And Therese reminds us that Dick Toffel is the co-founder of ProPublica, one of the most important and successful news organizations out there. Get rid of the Blacks, the Jews are next, and then the Indians will all be on the list, as we know from that famous saying. And Amy says, I learned so much from my talk last week. Thank you for that. We did a talk for the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation about AI. Folks, that's what our company does. Digimentors, we do talks, workshops, AI policy, AI scenario planning, AI strategy. If we can help you, please get in touch. Neil at digimentors.group, Sri at digimentors.group. We'd love to work with you. There's our card with our information, and we'd love to talk to you about more things. But we got to wrap up. We got to go. Neil, what a great show. I learned a lot, as I always do, and I appreciate this way in which we don't agree on everything we see, and that's important.
Absolutely. One quick announcement in terms of scheduling. We won't be hosting a show next week because of Mother's Day. So that is on May 10th next week. But we will be back on May 17th to join you. So we definitely appreciate all of your support and look forward to seeing you on the other side. May is, Sri, one of those months with Mother's Day and then Memorial Day as well. But we will keep doing this, and looking forward to episode 400 coming up soon.
And we are live, not live, we are recorded onto Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. So if you want to just listen to us, you can go there. I think they may even have video clips or video versions as well. So do check us out. Thanks.
Spotify, you can watch the video if you want to, or listen to the audio.
Oh, nice.
So you have that option. But Diana says, thanks for another great show. Rahadian says, thank you too very much. Ellen, good to see you guys. Thanks. Great show. Deborah wishes a happy Mother's Day to all. Therese says, thank you, Sri and Neil. Feeling the New York Times read-along joy.
She was up at 5:30 for us, so that's great.
And Doug, thanks for another great show. So we'll end on that.
Well, Munir, first time watcher, Munir saying this is an interesting conversation. In my dad's hometown of Trivandrum, the capital of Kerala State.
Yes.
Thank you.
Munir,
Always
please, if you want to join our mailing list, I'll add you to our list so you get announcements for when we have shows and what we're covering, etc.
Look at this. Ship stayed for the whole thing. Ship, come be a guest on the show. We were so happy, Ship, to see you. And she stayed. She's watching on Amtrak. That's wonderful. We've had viewers in the air, but I don't know if we've had a viewer on such a long train ride. Ourselves.
So now we need someone on a boat.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
And Ron,
bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.